It's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Arsenal. I'm Lavandra, and I'm happy to be back. And I can see some of you in the chat groups already. Big welcome back to my two regulars. Turkish, how you doing, Rove?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Can't complain.
Good. I'm sure you will if there is a complaint. And Lee, how you doing?
No, all good. All good. Look,
Yeah.
listen, Arsenal won their last two games, so I couldn't be more happy than what I am at the moment. It's been a good week so far.
It has. It has,
yeah.
mate. I mean, look, I've been away for a couple of weeks, and I've missed it. Not gonna lie, I've missed talking to you guys. I missed talking football in general. And mate, while I've been away, we've been winning. So I hope that's not a sign that I have to stay away, because otherwise we won't be doing many shows. But look, let's crack on with it. Big shout out to a few people first. African Gooner, how you doing? Good to have you back. Been a bit quiet yourself. I hope you're all right. Sebastian, how you doing? Young Palace, Leo Johnson, James Haddon, all you guys. I'm sure there's going to be more along the way. But look, mate, let's just talk about what's been going on. So 2 back-to-back wins after having a bad result prior to that. I think, what was the last game before that where we lost 2 back-to-backs? It was, come and help me out, guys. City.
Yeah,
City game.
1-0.
So we had a disappointing City game, and then suddenly 2 back-to-backs. Now, the first one I wanted to discuss was Heartache City, the Benfica game. I know you lot have probably discussed it already, but I've been sort of missing all this chat. Lee, I watched you. Mate, that's probably the best thing about us suffering is watching you on the watch-alongs, and I catch up with Troops as well on his watch-alongs, and they're hilarious. But I mean, going on that first, Heartache City, heart in mouths. We thought Olympiacos has struck again, going to their ground. They knocked us out last season when we should have won. I mean, mate, what did you think? You thought you were out, didn't you?
Yeah, I honestly thought we was out. I lost it. You know what I mean? I'll be honest. Nothing
Yeah, I know. I'm glad you're admitting it, because I was going to bring up some clips otherwise.
No, nothing against Kelechi or nothing like that. He just said the wrong thing at the wrong time, which we've all done.
Always seems to.
Do you know what I mean? So his timing is not the greatest, if I'll be honest, you know. And not only was it the performance and the way we was, I thought we was out. Definitely, we was out. I couldn't see us coming. He then decided to bring on Willian as well, and I just completely, I couldn't. I knew I was going to probably say and do something I was going to regret. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you just need to get out of the kitchen. And I'll be honest, lads. I went downstairs and they've got a TV downstairs and I was watching it with a couple of guys there. And when Tierney scored, I still didn't cheer. I still didn't think it was going to be enough. I still thought we was going to go out. And you know, I was always going through me. Oh, we're going to go out on away goals, and there's no away game. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, it's typical Arsenal.
Yeah.
And you know, then when this is how the emotions of the game were. When we actually scored, I thought, I knew it was going to be tight on the offside. I didn't think it was, but I thought it was going to be tight. And then when I thought, oh no, they make a way of getting rid of that. They make a way of disallowing that goal. So I couldn't. Then they give it.
Yeah.
So and then I thought, you watch us concede again now. It was just a roller coaster, wasn't it? Like I don't know what happened in that last minute. Was it offside the last bit of the goal? Was it offside?
Yeah.
The post? It was, like
Yeah, it was offside. Yeah.
I still don't know whether that was offside or not. But that was typical Arsenal. No way should they have even got near our goal after that night, but they did. And it was just horrendous. I don't know about you guys, a horrendous game to watch and follow. Once it was all over, I bloody loved it. I was buzzing, you know what I mean? But I didn't enjoy the game whatsoever.
Mate, I liken it to, you know, it's almost like a drug, isn't it? Because you've had the drug and you're going through it and you're suffering, but then when it kicked in after, you're buzzing. You was buzzing after it. But up to that point, and with everything that's been happening in the past, you expecting us to lose. I was expecting it, and it always seems like they're looking for a reason to go to VAR. Even if it's the other day, there was two tackles. We'll go into that game in a bit, but there was 2 tackles. either one could have been given. They were pulled it back. They're looking to use the one outside the box. Do you know what I mean? It just seems to happen to Arsenal. But Turkish, I just want to hear your response to this Benfica game, because I was like Lee. I had my neighbours upstairs see me in a shop a day or two after, asking me if I enjoyed the game sarcastically, because I was swearing the house out. So like, if that was me, you got. Did you have your little one at home as well?
Yeah.
Doing all that.
Nah, it was all right. He was sleeping all the way through it. Lucky him. But for me, it was, I thought we was going to win going into the game, and I thought we would have won comfortably. But if you look at the two goals we conceded, it was, individual mistakes. As much as individual brilliance saved us with Saka, especially, I feel like individual mistakes by Ceballos let us down. End of the first half, silly free kick, and into the second half, literally a calamity. And
everyone was saying Ceballos started well, didn't they?
Ceballos had a couple good games prior to that in terms of he was actually moving forward with the ball, breaking the lines. He was a bit more consistent, and then that game come about, and then you see, okay, maybe let's not get too ahead of ourselves. But we bounced back, and Lee at that point, he mentioned Willian coming on, and I thought to myself, Arteta, he's literally jumped in the grave he's dug for himself.
Yeah.
It just seemed like, that is it now. You guys don't like Willian. We're out of the Europa League. Here's Willian for you. Like a bit of salt into the wounds. In the end, he was
part in shot.
Yeah, he was pivotal in the 10 minutes when he first come on. Willian was all over the gaff, and he was there for the goal. But again, like Lee said, how much can you cheer Tierney's goal when you know that Arsenal have struggled to break down teams in the past? Obviously, Benfica are not as resolute as some of the teams in England, that they don't do the low block as well. In the end, it took a moment of brilliance again from Saka. But again, like Lee said, they went in the other end, hit the post, and then VAR, offside and whatever. It's always hearts in mouths with Arsenal. And at the end of the game, again, like Lee said, loved it. You wouldn't want to win any other way after feeling the emotions of that game. But ask me before the game, I would have been like, just give me a 2-0 halftime lead and a 3-0 result. I could do without the heartache. But it is what it is. We're through, and I like the Olympiacos tie. I think we need a tie with a bit of bite to it, a bit of tastiness. And I wanted Villarreal or Olympiacos. And I think I'm happy with it because it's time for revenge. If we've moved on at all in the past year, that game should show us and define it.
Well, you know what? Like, I agree with you. We could have had a lot worse in regards to the draws as well. We've avoided a couple of the bigger teams. Man United haven't got the easiest of ties, although it sounds like Ibrahimovic is not going to be available for that game. Don't know how influential a 40-year-old Ibrahimovic is, but Spurs have got, I think it's Dinamo Zagreb. Leicester have gone out. So, I mean, all in all, it's worked out quite nicely for us. Hopefully, AC Milan can pull off a result as well. And, let's just be honest, it could be destined for us to meet Spurs in a final or something for all we know. You think you had a heartaches in that Benfica game? Can you imagine that game with that similar sort of action going on? I don't think my heart could take it, to be honest. But
on one hand, I've got I don't know what you guys were like, but as much as obviously you got Arsenal on one hand, I was always looking at the teams going through, and I think Leicester going out and Napoli going out is massive for us because those are two teams that could cause problems. I'd go as far to say as Slavia Prague and Granada might cause us problems if they can knock those two teams out. But I think the bigger teams that get knocked out, the better for us. And United AC is the same situation. We don't want either of them at this stage, and one will go. I'd prefer United to go, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, look, you guys touched on a few important factors there. I mean, Saka again, brilliant. Although people were crying out he needed some rest, and thankfully we got a chance to do that in the last game. He has made some changes, and a lot of people were questioning these changes. For example, some people were saying Emile Smith-Rowe, he sparked our sort of revival in that cam position, and now that we've got Odegaard in, obviously Odegaard was brought in, and Smith-Rowe's been sort of messed around with that on the wing, and some people saying it's not working. What's your thoughts on those two areas before we go on to the other game, which is another nice one to talk about? Because I kind of understand what Arteta's doing. I mean, Emile Smith-Rowe, we don't want to risk burning him out. At the same time, we finally got a cam position covered with 2 players, so you can utilise. And he did try and play Emil Smith-Rowe against Leicester and dropped Odegaard the other day, so he was giving him that chance. What's your thoughts on that? Is he doing the right thing, trying to fit both in? Lee, I'll start with you, and also, or should we just be doing like for like swaps with regards to Odegaard and ESR?
Well, I don't agree with Smith Rowe going out to the wing when we've got Martinelli out there and we've also got Pepe. I think that was put to bed. Even Willian as well. That was put to bed on Sunday, because they was whether you play Pepe or Willian there, they were superb on the day. So I felt that was a wrong decision, but the manager got away with it. Particularly against Benfica, got away. I felt that when you're dead right, when Smith Rowe went into the middle, it seemed to click a little bit there. But I also think Partey's introduction helped that as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think that. I think for me, it's one or the other. You got to play or play them both in more of a central. I don't think you should be putting one of them out wide. Odegaard looks like he could play out wide, if I'll be honest, more so than Smith Rowe. He seems like, because he drifts out from there. But I think that what we've lacked and why we've not done well is because we've not had someone in that midfield area. What I was bad about the game on Thursday was I felt Odegaard was getting into some fantastic positions, and we just couldn't get. There were no one to feed him through the lines and feed him in those positions, and that was the problem. But once and then on Sunday we found that pass, and we was much better. I have to say that I don't think the midfield 2 behind helps. I think you've got to have somebody that's going to be able to be prepared. That's why I like Ceballos, because I know that he was poor in that game, but he is prepared to play the ball between the lines. Xhaka is very, very safe. El Neni, very, very safe. But ultimately, we've got to, and I think that you can see that they're working in training to get that right, so that you can use Smith Rowe or Odegaard in that position to get those balls in. But once he's in that position, like it was on Sunday, once you give it to Odegaard, and I thought it was a lovely little flick out to, I think it was William, and then that they scored. We need to get that ball into him, like, you know what I mean? And I think that I'm not bothered who it is, if I'll be honest, Odegaard or Smith Rowe. And I think that Smith Rowe probably maybe went one game too many. I think that maybe he was, on the borderline of being tired. And now I don't know how long he's going to be out. But for me, I don't think it's a bad thing that he has a rest for a week or 10 days and Odegaard plays, and then he comes back when he's fit and they rotate. I think that that's what I think they'll have to do. I don't really want to see either one of them out on the wing, particularly when we've got Martinelli, Pepe, and now an informed Willian.
I agree with you on that, Lee. I think my personal opinion, Turkish, I'd like to hear yours as well, is, I think their best positions are probably in that cam role. And the whole point is you can chop and change, you can alternate the two. Whereas before we couldn't. Are you happy seeing him out on the wing? I mean, I've seen a few people here, Turkish, and I know you love to comment on some of these, so I might as well just drop a few your way. Some are saying ESR being put out on the wing has played a part in him burning out. What? One game on the wing has burnt him out? I mean, that's just one thing there, Turkish. And another Tofa saying, I think it depends on a tactic opponent. Odegaard offers that space and killer pass, while ESR offers one touch and move football. What's your thoughts? What do you have to say on that, Turkish?
I think Maury said it earlier in the chat that it's a choice out of Odegaard and Emil Smith Rowe, and on the left it should be a choice out of Pepe and Martinelli, really. And if it goes to Pepe on the right, then maybe Oba's a choice on the left with Martinelli. We've got a few options in those positions now, so I think I can understand it, because at Emil Smith Rowe's age as well, I think he's still learning the game as well. So I feel like that could benefit him. It could stifle him, but it could also benefit him in the long run. We don't necessarily know right now, but I do think that we have better options on the wing than to go with Emil Smith Rowe at the moment. Like Lee said, there are some games, well, maybe not this season for us, but moving forward, teams do play more of a 4-1-4-1 at times, when instead of the 2 in the pivot, you've got 1 there and then 2 more attack-minded in front. That's the only way I really see Emil Smith Rowe and Odegaard working, because they do have work rate to get up and down. It would expose us on the back foot a lot. That's why I say not necessarily this season, but I feel like they're not alike, but they definitely occupy the same spaces. Like that last chat said, they are actually different in terms of what they do in those spaces. But I feel like playing both right now doesn't seem to make sense, considering I think someone actually Maury said it again last year. We was told that not told, but I think insinuated that Martinelli, he's up in Oba's position, and that's why Martinelli ain't getting as much game time. But now, what's the excuse with Martinelli? I'm not too sure.
Well, Maury's getting some mentions from Turkish today, and he's definitely hitting the mark. So thank you for those comments, Maury. I'll probably agree with you guys. I mean, I can understand if it was someone like Pep, this is the sort of thing he would do, wouldn't it? He'd get Odegaard, he'd get ESR, and he'd get like Ceballos, and he'll have them all playing interlinking in the three. But we just don't have that at the moment. We're still messing around and trying to find that stability and foundation. So it's a bit early, but I do like the fact that we can now chop and change a 10. Look, what would we have done last time without Odegaard when Emile Smith-Rowe come off in the last game? We would have been in a big trouble. We would have tried Willian in the 10. Wouldn't have suited him. Everyone would have gone mad at Willian. Then we would have tried Pepe or something like that. So I'm glad we got like for likes in there. Now, this is the other pressing matter, and we could discuss this while we're talking about the Leicester game as well. The other issue you're having now is Bellerin. He gets dropped. People were saying it's related to Pepe's performance, but then some others are alluring to the fact that, hold on a minute, Saka plays on the right when Bellerin plays and still plays well. So firstly, I'll start with you this time, Turkish, the Leicester game, your thoughts on it, and this right-back conundrum now as well that we're talking about. Are the guys right suggesting that Bellerin should be dropped? Does it affect Pepe's performance? Or the ones saying, listen, hold on a minute, Saka's played great in that position with Bellerin? Thoughts?
Listen, yeah, you're asking the wrong man if Bellerin should be dropped, because you know the answer to that one already, Lev. I don't think it's a conundrum. Well, the host has just left. He said that's it, but I don't think there we are.
The camera's gone frozen, so I'm just checking it out. So you carry on.
No worries. I don't necessarily feel it's a conundrum, because on paper, if you see it, Bellerin and Maitland-Niles have gone into the last couple of years as our first and second choice right backs, whether Bellerin's first or Maitland-Niles is first in periods. They've both had adequate time to make that position their own. One of them doesn't see themselves as a right back. The other one doesn't see themselves as a footballer, maybe more fashion model, or I don't know, documentary maker. I don't know what Bellerin really is going for in life, but he hasn't nailed down that position, and he's been given years now. Years. With Cedric, I always said, we don't know how he would perform at Arsenal given time. We can assume that, okay, Southampton looked like they had enough of him. They loaned him out the year before we signed him on loan. But you can also look back and say he's won the Euros with Portugal. When Southampton had a bit about them years back before Hasenhüttl, when Pochettino was around, Cedric had something about him in the first couple of years at Southampton. So I think on paper, moving into the season, I would have gone with Cedric. If I had to go with them three into the season, I would have gone with Cedric as the right back, just because he's the unknown. I know what I'm going to get from Bellerin, and I know what I'm going to get from Maitland-Niles. So I think all these rumours about Bellerin, he's had enough now. He wants to move on in the summer. It's happy days to my ears. It's music to my ears, because I feel like it's the necessary push that is required. Because Lee, it feels like he's had a free reign at Arsenal Football Club at times, in terms of, he doesn't perform. He hasn't developed. He doesn't really look like he takes football as his priority. But it just seems like people will suggest him for the next captain in 2019. That was not long ago. It's madness.
Well, he has captained the team as well, So, do you remember we had I think it was after the Newcastle game, and we all said what's going to happen with Bellerin now after Cedric's performance? And I said, well, Bellerin will come straight back in, and he actually didn't. He actually went over to the left back for a few games, but Bellerin did come straight back in, and it seems whatever Bellerin does or doesn't do, he's still going to play, and it doesn't mean how well Cedric plays. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. You can see the love chamber behind here now, unfortunately, but it is what it is, guys. But just ignore it's there.
Yeah, So from that point of view, I think that. I thought Cedric. What I like about Cedric, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but Cedric, I thought helped Pepe play really well on Sunday, because what he seemed to do was the runs that he was making, overlapping runs, meant that there was space inside for Pepe to exploit. And I think he had last 2 games at right back, he's played really, really well. And what he's done is we've had Cedric going down one side, putting in good passes and everything, and then on the other side, Tierney doing what he's doing. With Bellerin, it just seems to be one way. When Bellerin's playing, it seems to be all left side and nowhere else. And I think that's a big worry. But for whatever reason, Bellerin will come back. I like to see Bellerin start on Saturday against Burnley, because that I would think that maybe he ain't going to play on the Thursday. That's how I'm looking at it, like, you know. But listen, I think Cedric. I think you've got to give Mikel a bit saying, because he said, well, once Cedric gets fit, you'll see the best of him. I was watching him and thinking, what does this man actually do? But he's had a run in the team now, and he's looked good. I thought he defended really well on Sunday as well, and I think that once Mikel sorts out a back four and he can rely on and he can trust, then I think that maybe he could go a little bit more expansive in the midfield, like we was talking about. But I don't think he feels he can with the defenders that he's got at the moment. And I think that one of them is because, you know, Arteta would look at it and say that, you know, how do you defend, or what's the best way to defend? Well, the best way to defend is attack and have the ball more times than not. You know, Manchester City don't get attacked that much because they've got the ball a lot. And I think that what happened, I felt that on Sunday we kept the ball really, really well. And when we went down the right hand side, we was keeping it and playing, and it was going down the left hand side, we was keeping it and playing. I think at times when it gets to Bellerin, it breaks down, whether it's a poor cross, a bad play. But I'm not saying that it's all bad for him, because he has done things that have over the last few games. Well, I think with Bellerin, he's more hit and miss. I don't really know. Like the Arsenal team, you don't know what you're going to get with him. 1 minute he's good, 1 minute he's not. I just feel with Cedric, I don't know if you guys feel the same. I just feel that maybe he's not as dynamic as Tierney, but you're always going to get a 7 out of a 10 out of him. Do you know what I mean? You're always a reliability of him.
His final ball seems to be better. And he seems to be better in the final third. Like you said, Lee, one thing I notice about Bellerin is usually when it goes out to him, he brings it back inside. It goes back inside again. Then it gets sprayed over to Tierney. You don't usually get that final ball. And even when he is in those positions, it's very rare that he delivers the right final ball. Where I think Cedric gives you a little bit more than that. But I mean, look, you know, Turkish, I'd like to hear what you have to say on this. And also the conundrum we now have, another one as well, the centre-back situation, because who is your pairing as well? Because Mari, he had a slow start in that Leicester game. I personally think he should have gone out, but then obviously El Neni could have covered. There's a load of things that could have happened in that first goal against Leicester, and I was shocked that Tielemans could run all the way through and score like that. But he settled in after that and looked solid. Who would be your preferred pairing in that middle, and what do you think we should be doing with the likes of Bellerin and Cedric? And
you missed it, Lev. You can't take a 5-minute break and then tell me.
Oh, is that what you did? Yeah, you did. So then, what about the centre back pairing?
You know what? It's hard to say for sure. We've seen so many centre back pairings this season look competent, and I say that because we haven't seen many competent partnerships in the past 10 years. And I think this season we've seen Holding and Luiz do well. We've seen Holding and Gabriel do well. Gabriel and Luiz have done well. And Mari and Holding have done well. Mari and Luiz. There's so many there that have done well, because I feel like the organisation all around has improved.
We've also seen some of them we've seen them all do badly as well in places.
Yeah, pretty much. Aside from I'd say Mari, I think I've seen mistakes from each and every one. Mari on the weekend, I'd say, on first sight, you want him to close down. But when you know that he's a slow defender, he looks over his shoulder, sees, you know, a blue shirt, and he thinks, you know what, let me not get beaten for pace. Let me step back. I look at El Nene there more than I do Mari. But I feel like Mari didn't look over his shoulder again to see Luiz has got his man. And if you look, Luiz never got in front of that man anyway. So I think Mari's position was actually spot on if he's covering that man. It's just that there was someone walking into the box unopposed.
Partey covers that, don't he? Partey goes out to that danger. I've seen.
Yeah, I'd say so. So I think Mari overall has probably been our most competent in terms of the last 14 months, I'd say, not just this season. I'd say since we've signed him, every time he's played, he's looked solid. Obviously, he's slow. We can make do with that because he looks smart. He looks like he knows the game. He reads it well. my partnership, I'm really intrigued on Mari and Gabriel. Really intrigued. Burnley away is an interesting tie because Wood and Barnes are gonna give you a right old battering, and I think it's a tough one. Mari,
I like Mari and Gabriel. That would be my choice because Gabriel's got a bit of pace.
Yeah,
covers for Mari, and Mari's got that aerial ability. But then people allude to the fact that they're both same-footed. For example, Lee and I, we've all mentioned this a few times.
Yeah.
Would you overlook that and just crack on with that?
Yeah, I think for Burnley you can do and just see how it goes. I think you'd play Gabriel on the right because he's more mobile. But I also think, look, the modern day game, has wingers cutting in left, right, and centre. Yeah, and I think maybe having a left-footed centre back in the right-sided centre back position in the modern day might help because you have so many footballers cutting in now. That right-sided centre back would be on his strong side if the guys cutting in at him. So I think that's something that hasn't really been looked into enough yet, and maybe it's something we can look into because I feel like Gabriel's got the mobility. Mari on the right, no, because he'll get skipped past too easy. But Gabriel, I think he's got the attributes to do it. Okay,
well, let's see what some of these guys are saying. Jashir Josiah says, I think Gabriel is too rash at the moment. Reese is saying, Gabriel and David Luiz is the best pairing. This is what I'm saying now. This is something that is dividing people. Not that we need any excuses to divide this fan base, but Jashir says again, Luiz and Mari for me at the moment. We've done that one. He's saying Mari and Luiz has moments like against Wolves that let the team and us down. So Josh, don't trust them. And Mari Memento's at it again. I would agree, Josh. But since Gabriel has returned, he hasn't been himself. So, I mean, there we go. We've got Mr. Aaron Benjamin. He's back. $9.99. I haven't seen you for a little while. So good to see you guys back. Where is Shaheen? Shaheen is just taking some time out to spend with family. So keep an eye out on that. I have a question for the panel. How many cans of... Oh, no. Does anyone else? How many cans of Coke at what profit you used to sell at school? Also, very interesting poll today on Twitter page. All right. Okay. All right. So, look, I'm guessing someone's talking about the league. Well, look, I can't wait for my kid to go back to school, my son to go back to school because, it was tough times out there. £300-400 a week on cans of Coke.
Well, my boy used to go to the old pound shop. He said, Dad, take us up when he was at school. Take us to the pound shop. And buy a load of sweets and all that. And he actually got I got a phone call from the school saying he weren't allowed to do it. And I thought, well, it's a bit of enterprise, but so the school weren't. So maybe back in the day you was allowed to do that, but nowadays you're not allowed to be an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur, yeah. I could vouch. I did sell some fireworks when I was a kid. Because we knew a sweet shop owner who lived next to us, and they get loads of bags, and you could take fireworks and stuff into schools. So I can vouch for that. Those things did happen. Sweets, tuck shops, and all that. £300-400. Sorry, Aaron, I weren't making that kind of money on it. But thanks for the super chat, by the way. Interesting question. So, guys, moving on, where we've had some news. The Willian and Pepe stuff is going off as well. Your thoughts? What has changed things for Willian and Pepe? I mean, I've had someone on here say Pepe got lucky and they should bring back Bellerin, for example. One of these comments on here. So what's your thoughts on it? Is there something happening? Is it the fact that we now understand how we're playing, or is it just a matter of guys bedding in? What's your thoughts with regards to Willian and Pepe's fall?
Do you want me to go first, Serge?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
you got something out between yourselves.
I just think that maybe, listen, Willian and Pepe are not bad players. I think we had a discussion on it a bit before. I'm not judging Pepe now on his transfer. I'm just looking at him as a player. I'm not going to judge him on the 72 or 75 million, whatever, because that's what I was doing, and probably it wasn't fair on him, and it's not right. He's not a 75 million pound player. It's as simple as that. And I think that, as I alluded to earlier, I do think that Cedric's runs, and that helps him in that game on Sunday. With Willian, let's be honest, Willian is not a bad player. We all know that. He's not a bad player. He wouldn't be where he was if he wasn't a bad player. So he's got to come good somewhere along the line. I felt if you needed something as a player, a confidence boost, you're going out of the Europa League. The manager's job is completely and utterly on the line. Whether you think he's on the line from the ball, from the fans' point of view, it was. I think he would have lost a lot of fans over that game night. You know what I mean? What more confidence boost can you have as a player that we're 1-0 down and you go, Willian, go out there and save me? You know what I mean? I think it was a massive, massive boost for the player. Massive shot in the arm as a player. I think it would give you every bit of confidence. And he went in there and done it. And I thought on Sunday he was brilliant. Look at it. He hasn't been out to. He wouldn't have been out. He couldn't have outrun my nan in games like over the last 4 or 5, whatever, for 3 or 4 months.
Is your nan rapid, Lee?
She's rapid in her day, like, you know what I mean? Like, but passed away now, God rest her soul. But she was rapid in her day, especially doing the hoovering and all that, like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember. But
always during football, no doubt.
Yeah, you know, but like, what I'm saying is, look at that goal for the third goal. He burst past the player. Not only did he burst past the player, he made the right pass. We haven't seen that from him. So I think that by Thursday, I do think this, boys, and you might think I'm silly on that. I think that last 20 minutes is a massive, massive thing for Arsenal's season and long-term goals as well. I think that was massive on Thursday. It gave everybody a boost, a huge boost. I think that it gave Willian the confidence because he then's gone and backed it up with another performance. I just think it was a massive vote of confidence from the manager for him, and it's worked. And I honestly think that Pepe, you know, what he's doing more than anybody else now is that he's making the manager make it very, very difficult to leave him out. I don't think it was that difficult to leave him out 3 or 4 months ago or whatever. But now, you know, every time, I think in the last 6 games, he's had 5 really good games. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you're putting pressure on the manager. That's all he can do. That is all he can do. You know what I mean? It's then down to the manager whether he picks him. The unfortunate thing for Pepe at the moment is on the right-hand side. That's nailed down. You know what I mean? Like Saka gets it. But there's a position on the left-hand side. And if he produces... And what's good for Arsenal and good for us, guys, is that you've got Pepe, a Willian now, and also if you want to go Martinelli there, like pushing via him from one place. So what does that tell you? If one of they've got to play well, otherwise they're not going to get there. So it means their games have got her up, and that can only be good for Arsenal. And if you want to go in there, Lacazette's performance, by the way, was fantastic on Sunday. So you could actually put Aubameyang out there. So you've got 4 players vying for one spot.
Well, finally, you're right there, Lee. Finally, it looks like we've got players that are fighting for each other's positions and at the same time actually look like they want to play for the team now. I was actually starting to feel a little bit sorry for Willian. You look like a very sorry Dragon Ball Z figure. Oh, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, things are changing for him. Turkish, I'd like to hear your thoughts. And also, someone's got a question in here for you as well, mate, which I'm going to chuck at you. From Corn Beef, I got a question for Turkish. He says, was Emery underrated? Judging by the team he had to work with and the position in the league plus Europa final. So I'll let you comment on both of those. Start on whichever one you want first, mate.
Bring it up again. Let me just see the second part of it.
Yeah, mate.
Was Emery judging by the team? I always say you can't really rate Arteta and you can't really rate Emery. Obviously, looking back at what Emery produced, we'd take 5th in the Europa League final, where we are right now. So it's easy to look back and say underrated, or maybe we should have given him time. All we can do is learn from our mistakes, innit? Like, really and truly. I think with Emery, I don't feel like he was given enough time, resources, or tools to do his job. That's why I can't say whether he is overrated or underrated or whatever it is. Like Lee, I think, said underappreciated might have been more the term for me. But again, with Arteta, I'd say the same thing. You can't really rate them when it's from above. We really have to look at what's going on. That's why I hold back on my, out-and-out judgment of Emery and now Arteta until I really know that they're given what I believe is required to kick on, and then I can fully judge them.
Okay.
And that was it. That was both sides of the question answered.
Okay, and what about this Willian and Pepe thing? Because what do you think's changed? Is Lee right in what he's saying? Exactly. Do you agree with him? Is it just the fact that it's a bit of a confidence thing? Is it the fact that the players all know what they're doing now? I mean, some are saying that Willian's too old. He's not going to come good now, for example. Do you think something has happened that's just changed things around, or is it just a bit of form and it has just taken a bit of time?
Listen, Willian's it's over. Willian, that them couple performances, we might see them here and there again, but we're not to rely on Willian. Yeah, and even though he had 2 good performances, it doesn't matter. He is still 4th choice winger or whatever he is. He's still low down on the pecking order for me, and that's how I see it. Like Lee said, we all know that there's a player in there, but you take that heart out of the player, that player is not the same player anymore. Chelsea has his heart, not Arsenal.
No, I agree with you. I mean, he only just come out the other day saying he didn't really want to go. Clock Orange, 110 watching. There's 121 now watching Wasters. Get the likes up. 100%. Yes, guys, if you're watching, please get those likes up. We're back. We're back with a vengeance. We're going to be doing a lot more shows. I've got the hunger for doing this. So get those likes up, smash those likes, and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, guys, there's been some interesting news now moving it on to the transfers and things that are going to happen in the future and just general news, really. Arteta has apparently come out today saying there's going to be some unprecedented action in the transfer window, the summer transfer window. So what do you think he means by that, Lee? I mean, what do you think he's going to do? Is it when he says unprecedented, does that mean unprecedented as in, hey, there's a pandemic and we're not really going to be spending much? Or is this another one of them, some promises being made that they're going to go hard this summer? What's your thoughts on it?
I think he thinks he's in a Manchester City press conference. I think so. You can look at it both ways. Either way, if you want to be a half glass empty or a half glass full. If you think that Arsenal are going to spend some money and you believe in it, then I think that that it's going to be unprecedented that Arsenal are going to spend money, or it's unprecedented that no money is going to be spent. I would like to think that it's probably the first one. I think that there's going to be some big signings. I do think that there is going to be. And I'll tell you why I think there's going to be, because there has to be. There has to be.
Yeah, there does have to be.
I mean, like that is it. If Arsenal don't spend some big money in the summer, the other teams are spending, I won't say more than us, but let's be honest about it. There's teams better than us in this league at the moment. So, to get up with them, you've got to spend a bit of money. And what we have got, I think, good youngsters, better than most. So that's a good boost. And I think that we need to just invest in the right area to push on. Because if we don't, we're going to be where we are this time next season and the season after and the season after. And you have to be honest. I don't think it's going to be like Chelsea, if I'll be honest, where it's going to be like a £300 million, £200 million fee. I think 3 or 4 players, like I would say probably 150, 160 million spend, maybe selling a few players as well to balance it a little bit. I don't think that I think Arsenal need to spend 100 million, but obviously make up the other money on other transfers. Bring in three players, 3 or 4 players. We talked about this earlier. I mean, maybe with Dino doing well in Germany, that may be able to bring him back, and that could save us spending a lot of money on a central defender. Saliba now is playing regular in France, and by all accounts, I haven't really followed it, but what I've seen on it, he's pulling up trees up there and doing really, really well.
Yeah, I've heard he's played well. Yeah, there's
an opportunity for him to come back and do really, really well. I think if we can look at our midfield, I think we've got to improve the midfield. I think, Partey, I look at Partey, when he come on, he improves our midfield straight away. But, he's not been in it long enough, but we need someone alongside him. I think we also need someone not alongside him, but also give him a breather as well. So, we ain't heavily relying on him. So we need 1 or 2 players in that position as well. And I do think, I don't know about you guys, if Levkev's jumping off would help, wouldn't it, Turkish? If you didn't keep jumping on and off
I'm still here, guys. I'm still here. It's this bloody camera. I don't know what's going on with it
what
today.
is that like? We're not on Rainbow, are we? I thought
You know what? Can you hear me still? Yeah. Can
yeah,
you know what this looks like? Do you remember?
it's a better view.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Do you remember you used to have that girl with the blackboard in the background when the TV was off at BBC Two late at night? That's what that looks like. I don't know what's going on with my camera today, guys. I've just come back and it won't stop, but I'm still here. So if I'm messing around in the background, just bear with me. All right. Carry on.
So I do think we need a centre forward that's going to change things up a little bit. Someone that can head a ball. I look at all of our forwards, all very, very similar. So if we can do that, 3 or 4 players. I'm not saying if we bought 3 or 4 players, we're going to go and challenge we're going to win the title. But I would like to think that if we could challenge for the title, what that would give us is an opportunity to make top 4. If you aim for the top, it might not get the top, and I don't think that we would, because City are quite a way in front at the moment. But if we could aim for the top and we finish in 3rd or 4th, then we're building. But I think that we've got to push for that now. I think that, if you look at it, that the Arteta will have a year's more experience, so he should be better as a coach if we look at it from that point of view. The younger players are going to get better and better. As I say, just improve that midfield, and I think that we've got a real good chance of doing some good stuff.
Yeah, I didn't hear them quotes, so I searched it while you was talking, Lee, and I'm surprised. I can't lie to you. I love quotes like this because it gives us a benchmark in terms of look at what he said on this day and look at what's happened. And I just want to read the quote out because I'm shocked by it, and I just want to read that to make sure I've got the right quotes. Let me just check the date on this thing because, all right, 3rd of March, 11:30 in the morning. He said it will depend on where we finish, how we finish. Now, I don't like that because where we finish, how we finish, we're done. This season's done in terms of trying to attain something. We were told last season, the same time from Arteta, that the transfer window all depends on Europa League. I don't want to hear that again this season. I really do not. He said, I think what we have to do in the summer is unprecedented for a club of this stature. To do the amount of transactions that we have to make, it tells you as well where we are, which is fucked. And I like that because it's the reality of it. He said, unprecedented in this manner means that the club shouldn't have to have such a transfer window because Arsenal are a massive club. But the way we've been left to rot, the way we've been mismanaged over the years means we have to do an amount of transactions that tells us where we are. So that sounds to me like Bellerin, gone. Luiz, let go. El Nene, gone. Ceballos, sent back. Eddie, Laka, gone. This is what this sounds like to me, the amount of transactions. Because it's not only in, we need to get rid of a few.
Yeah. But I would see that as a positive, though, wouldn't you? To be honest,
100%. That's why I'm probably in a happy way. And then he continues and says, I think it was very much needed and you want to improve. You want to do that. It's where you have things in the house and you believe that you can improve on it. Externally acquiring players to go to the next level. Everything is planned and let's see what the market can bring. Listen, do I believe it? Not yet, because we've been told this. We were told be excited and was still to be excited. But what it does do is definitively state that this club is going to act vigorously and aggressively this summer to fix the problems at this club. That's what those quotes tell me. And I want that from people at the club, whether it's the manager, whether it's Edu, whether it's Kroenke, because then you can go back and say, well, you said this on the 3rd of March, and now you're saying this on the 7th of August,
Yeah. Mind you, Turkish, he did say be excited, didn't he? Like, and I haven't been excited yet, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Well, guys, I don't know what's going on camera, but I carry on. I don't remember him saying we were fucked. I don't remember reading that Turkish that Arteta said we were fucked, but that's pretty much what he was saying.
I'm translating that. I'm translating that.
Putting it into street talk, can't you? We're fucked.
Just in case.
Yeah. No, I did read that earlier on today. He has said it, and the one thing I did like about it, and which is why I mentioned it, is as you rightly said, it puts pressure on above because he's put it out there now. He said it. It's like when he first came in and he said they're going to back me, and we need to up the levels of the players and etc. etc. So, to be fair to him, everything that he's saying, he does look like he's trying to apply it. So, I am hoping, like you guys, that's something serious this summer. Like he's going to get rid of some of this deadwood. I do think Bellerin's going to go, and a few others. I would like El Neni replaced by someone a bit better, like a Basuma, someone like that. So, I mean, what do you guys see us happening on the coming games? Then, I mean, you've seen, we don't want to go into the transfer too much because it's a little way away yet, but that's good news. So what do you see him doing this coming weekend with the lineup, bearing in mind we finally had a week's rest? I'll start with you. While I'm trying to fix this camera, I'm killing time. So you just carry on.
No worries. Well, I think that we spoke about this yesterday, Turkish. We were saying like I don't think there'd be too many changes from Saturdays night. I think they'll go with the same. I think that I think it's worth just resting Saka again for another game until Thursday. I think the same with Aubameyang, and I think the guys that played on Sunday played really, really well. It's not very often you go to a top four side, and let's face it, Leicester are. If they'd have won that game, they'd have been second, and totally dominate the game, and also be in total control. I'll be honest. I was sitting there 20 minutes from the end, enjoying. It was complete contrast to the game on Thursday. I was sitting there, I just enjoyed the game of football, watching Arsenal play. I never thought we was going to lose the game and concede a goal. Fantastic. So I think they should go that way again. Give those players that little rest, because I'll tell you what, we have got a lot of games thick and fast coming up. If we are to progress in the Europa League, it means playing virtually to the end of the season 3 games a week. So we're going to need a little bit of rest now, and to get a little. We're fortunate that these players can get a rest at this sort of stage. Burnley, for instance, are playing tonight against Leicester, so we're going to be a little bit fresher than them. I think we'll do well on Saturday. And I know I've said it because the hope kills you. I do expect us to win, and it then puts us in a good. We've got. I've got to see it like from a point of view like, hey, if Fulham can get something against Spurs on Thursday night, we then beat Burnley. It really rides onto that North London derby where we could actually get close to them again, and that's got to be our first aim, is to start taking a couple of teams above us down. You know what I mean? We've got to do that. Play like we did on Sunday. We've got a good chance, and I think that. I wouldn't make too many changes for this game, and I fancy us to do well. Listen, Burnley and no mugs. I know they had a poor performance on Sunday, and the good thing is they say, "Oh, they get a reaction." Well, let them have a reaction against Leicester, like, you know what I mean? So, okay.
Both teams looking to react in that game.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I expect to win, but I'm just looking to the Olympiacos game really in terms of a game that.
That's a big game, isn't it?
Yeah, my heart's really in that one. I think Lee's right. Go with the same team, and let's see what they're like against the low block in Burnley and a bit of a different type of defending and manner. Because Leicester came out to attack us. It's completely different. Burnley, let's see what the same team can do against them, because it's a different format, it's a different style, and it's the Premier League at the end of the day. The players can learn from these types of things. And Pepe, play him again. Whoever it is, I'd say just go with the same team. Maybe make a slight adjustment if you feel like someone needs to come on and get some game time before Olympiacos. But I feel like I'm with Lee. I expect to win. Burnley are playing Leicester midweek. It's just set up for us to really go there, get 3 points, and move on to Olympiacos.
I know that the Olympiacos game's a bigger game for you, Turkish, in your mind, and I tend to agree with you. Who would you go with as your lineup for that game? I mean, the Burnley game, I expect us to win. Famous last words, I'm sure. But I do. We're on a roll. I think we've got enough in the squad to play not a second string, but a decent players that we could save for Thursday. Who would you line up against Olympiacos on Thursday?
Probably Leno in goal, goes without saying. Cedric right back, Tierney left back. I'd probably go Mari and Louise.
Because you said try Mari and Gabriel for Burnley, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't risk it for the Olympiacos game?
No, but if it went well against Burnley, then you'd maybe analyse it then. But I'd say Luis put him in there through gritted teeth as well, because I know Luis could fuck the whole tie up for us. But I feel like on the other hand, his experience could work in our favour. I'd go with Partey and Ceballos in the middle with Odegaard in front. I'd go with Saka on the right, Pepe on the left, and Ober up top.
Lee, you agree with that?
Virtually.
He's putting in Xhaka instead of Ceballos.
I would put Xhaka in instead of Ceballos. That's the only thing, because it's tried and trusted. That's why I would go that. I'd love to see Partey and Ceballos play with each other, and I think not in on a football field. That is
that's wrong channel for that, Lee. We've got a few others that can help you with that one, but not here.
I wouldn't mind seeing Partey and Ceballos play on the go. But do you know what? I think Xhaka's been playing every week, so I think Xhaka will get a rest against Burnley. It'll probably be. I think it may be El Neni and Ceballos come in there, but I would like to see Ceballos and Partey play with each other in a game. But I don't know if we could risk it in the away game. Maybe in the home game.
Okay, so there you have it. Lee wants to see Xhaka and Ceballos play with each other, and he's getting really excited. That's all you need to know, really, guys. But look, I'm going to just look at a few other things as well while we're very, very quickly while we're here, just to see what everyone else is saying. So, Maury, I know he's been your favourite today, Turkish. He reckons Martinelli and Pepe are the future, but you want get better as a player without starting in the Prem. He needs game time. So some are saying that Martinelli, they're hearing Martinelli's not playing and getting game time because apparently Arteta is preparing him to take over in that centre forward position. Do you think there's any truth in that story?
I don't know. You listen, stories are stories. You find out. Time will tell, whether he likes him or not. Time will tell. Same with Saliba. We can argue about this or that, but in essence, who knows what Arteta or the club really want with that player.
There you go. He didn't say anything, but he said plenty. So we're going to look to wrap this up because I know some of you guys have got other things to do. I'm just going to very quickly run through some others. Could Odegaard start in the CM role, guys? Quick answer to that one.
Depends on the team.
Depends. I think he could do if
in Ceballos' place. I'm suggesting.
I think Ceballos. You know what I mean? Like even Ceballos at this moment in time is probably doing something that he don't do. He's probably being a more defensive, bit too deep into what he should be. So, and I think that's because he don't trust the defence. Once he trusts out the defence, I think then that could happen. But until then, no way. And I don't blame him.
There you go. So we've got a big week coming, guys. We've got Burnley this weekend, and then we've got a massive, massive tie. The tie that was meant to be the tie that was basically holding up our entire season was last week. We've got through that Benfica. Now we've got another one of those ties that is holding up our entire week, and this time it's against Olympiacos. Apparently we've lost 5. We haven't beaten them in 5 games. Is that right? They're the only other team to have remained unbeaten. Well, I don't see how that is. We beat them away at their ground last season, didn't we?
No, Drew.
Oh, we did. We drew 1-1. So there you go. So apparently Olympiacos are our new bogey team. So let's keep our fingers crossed on that. One other thing I just want to say before I go, Shaheen, we miss you, mate. We miss you. And, free Shaheen. Let him out. Let him out.
He's been banged up at the moment.
He's banged up abroad. Yeah, he's not abroad. He's at home. He's not been travelling. So don't start spreading malicious rumours. But look, guys, call for his Shaheen to return. Free him. Free Shaheen. If you see him anywhere, let him know we want him back. We miss him. And that's really about it. So, guys, I appreciate you coming back on today's show. I'm glad to be back. I know it was a bit up in the air and it was my first time back and my camera was doing all sorts, but I appreciate you coming back on the show. I appreciate everyone has been watching. Any last comments before you gents move on?
No.
Take care.
Yeah.
No, love that. No. All right, cheers, guys. Thanks for that. Thanks for making
the effort. Enjoy the week.
Yeah, get the camera right next week, mate. Get the camera right.
Yeah. I know the camera doesn't. get your camera out for the lads, and let's hope we get excited. And
You've been moving slightly to the right to that bedroom. Like,
What's wrong with you? Like?
I was hoping.
Because Lev, I'm gonna stop you there. Lee just said play with each other, and you just said get the cameras out for the lads.
The camera, well, I'm just going on. Lee, I think this whole
I'm here for football. Yeah,
mate, the whole Arsenal fan base has been stuck indoors for too long. Clearly,
needs to get out.
We need to get out a little bit. There you go. So, guys, let's hope we get out very, very soon. Otherwise, God knows what we're going to be seeing in the coming months. I'm Lavanja. This has been the Arsenal Lounge. I'm very happy to come back. Thank you, Turkish. Thank you, Lee. And, I think that's it, guys. So, peace out.
Take care.